from the government and claiming that he was, his back was injured and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, he's running these wrestling shows, hopping in and out of the ring. And I don't think he was reporting any of them with the New Jersey State Taxation Department.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of happened is that we got fed up with him messing with us, and me and Kevin Matthews reported him and he quickly went away. Now, he took his operation and he resold his entire promotion, all those shows, all those dates, to another individual. And then he did it again to Ricky O and JCW.
Right.
And when that started happening, but he was still involved sort of with Ricky O and with JCW. And this was roughly about maybe 2 years ago, year and a half. Yeah, about 2 years ago. We started running shows in Edison, and we came to find out that our flyers were being ripped down everywhere, and it was Dapper, again, doing the same shit. And I took it out on JCW. And I said, look, guys, they were using a couple of our guys, and at that time, we were kind of off and running with promoting certain people, and I put a lot of time and devotion into not protecting guys, but really, we would spend money to bring people in to build stars. Guys like, Mike Dennis, who later became Bonesaw, and Mario Boccara, Dan Moff, to really, the reason why we have any credibility whatsoever is because the perception in the eyes of the fans, we're spending top dollar hoping to draw a big crowd, but at the same time, we're not that promotion that comes in and the names just go over and you go home. We're going to use those outside guys to get our guys over, and we bring in, the Hardys of the world, the Credibles, and the popular independent act. We brought in Luke Hawks and Brian Cage, and it was to get these guys over. And I knew at that time JCW was just plucking guys, or the ones you were using was just to put their guys over. And it was kind of like, okay, we're really close to home. We got our posters being ripped down. Let's not do that. Guys, just don't work here anymore. That's where that came from.
Okay.
And then over time, I saw it differently than my partner at the time saw it, Eric. And I didn't care if guys took their personas or gimmicks here and go make money with it and go elsewhere. And that's pro wrestling. What the fuck? We're not millionaires. We're not making that much off this. If someone wants to take their act and go there, it was kind of like an unsaid rule that wouldn't happen. And because it was just so much of a headache and so much of a, all right, whatever, man, that guys weren't allowed to take, not so much their name, but certain personas, like Bonesaw, for example, couldn't go work somewhere else as Bonesaw. I didn't really agree with that, to be honest with you. I didn't. But it's not, when you're in a business partnership, you got to pick and choose your hill to die on. And that's kind of what happened with that. But I encouraged, and you can ask any of my guys, go work wherever you can. Go pick up as many dates as you can. Know what you're worth, but, pay your dues. And go out there and work the places. But there was no places where it was like, hey, don't go there, with the exception of JCW, and that was for a limited time period. And time went on, and me and Ricky, we're friends now. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
That came up a couple months ago, and I think it was a big waking up period in the last 5 months. At least it was for me. Where it was wow, and I think a lot of that came with the passing of Fat Frank, and I think a lot of that, not that I knew him personally, but I think I just perceived this what the fuck? We don't need any issues with anyone anymore.
Right.
And Ricky was actually the one that kind of reached out to me over time. And, we had a meal together and we laughed and we're all there's no reason. There's always going to be some bullshit in wrestling. There's always going to be. There's always going to be some bad promoters and some, drama and stuff. But for the most part, right now, I don't really have issues with anyone. Maybe me and Banner have some things to clear up, but that's, he texted me last night trying to extend an olive branch. I guess that's the way wrestling is, but I don't want to be the promotion that has long-term vendettas with other promotions or, guys can't go, and guys had bookings plucked from them, and that wasn't my call, but I got to be kind of responsible for that because I was and am half owner of PWS, and it's kind of a bummer, man, So there was a lot of truth to that. That's just true. There was a lot of truth to that, but it was only with one or two players. There was another time too. They were booked. A couple guys were booked for Pier 1, and I think it was Falaba and Dan Moff, and I really don't care. Go make your money. Go do whatever. I mean, I thought it was a little ironic that was the same program as us. It's kind of close. But it's like, hey, whatever, dude, go do your thing. And we partner took them off the show. Reached out to the dude and was like, you can't use these guys or whatever. And it came to a point. Kevin Matthews said it best, where he said to my former partner, he was like, who are you to tell someone that they can't go make money? He's like, well, who can't do that unless we're dishing out serious. Like Ring of Honor has a couple exclusive contracts, and obviously WWE and TNA tries to pretend that they do, but like, unless we're really financially making it worth someone's time, promoter has no right to say that to you. So that's what I'm at with that.
I kind of when I heard that, I was like, wow. I'm like, that's kind of like looking into someone's pocket and telling them how to pay their bills, and I thought that was kind of messed up.
Yeah, it's not with this. But then again, not to contradict that point, but if you really think about it from a different standpoint too, picture yourself if you have like a really quality, good promotion, and you've been focused, because it's different for each individual talent. I feel like sometimes, like Mario Bocura and stands out to me because we had him pretty much undefeated for about, I'd say maybe a year and a half. Really give him squash matches and then building up his caliber of opponents over time and really focusing on him. So how would you feel if there was any sort of promotion that wants to reach out and book him, and chances are they're not paying him what you're paying him, that they're trying to pay him actually less, but guys sometimes negotiate their own rates and come down for certain places, because everyone, no one makes it rich off. I always tell my guys, you're not going to get a killing off a promoter's payday. You make your money back with merch.
Yeah.
Try your best to get over with the crowd. But how would you feel if you could put like a whole, literally thousands upon thousands of dollars to devote to someone to get them over, and they deserve all the credit. Like if someone gets over, it's not the promoter. It's a kind of a combined effort, but it's the performer that really does it,
right?
The wrestler. But finding out that maybe they're booked 15 minutes, 10 minutes away from your main venue, and that guy's getting booked to put over one of their, an untrained dude in 3 minutes. Does that make it different? It's a way of thinking about things, or someone that they're just using them to put them in a bad situation. Does that kill what you're creating in your promotion? And I think sometimes that it's valid, and sometimes it's not valid. I think sometimes it's relevant, and sometimes it completely isn't. Van Moff, and I love Jack Sabbath now. Now that we get along, we speak, we talk. We've had some crazy past dealings, but when Van Moff won the PWS title, he was immediately booked the next week. It was supposed to be Samoa Joe, Amazing Red. I think it was just supposed to be Samoa Joe, Amazing Red, and or maybe it was like Red versus Moff. It was something like that. But anyway, after that match, after Moff won, because he had a big chase and finally gets, he was our champion for well over like 7 months, I believe. Once he had the title, Jack booked him in a 4-way between Samoa Joe, Amazing Red, and Danny DeMonto. And it was so obvious to me that he was booked that way to put over DeMonto and another place just to say fuck you to us and we're better. And I didn't say don't do the show, but I'm saying, hey, this is happening. Just let you know this. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want to do that then. I think sometimes it's about the motivation of the promotion, and sometimes there's unique scenarios where, and I was on Dan. Dan like, fuck it. Dan was like, I think Dan had 2 shows that day. He's like, you know what, I'm not going to fucking go. And I'm like, yeah, I can't blame you, because that also, the motivation over there, because there was issues at the time of that. Now there's no issues. I think now, though, like right now for WrestlePro, I don't have issues, but I think everybody would do business by each other to protect each other in a certain kind of way. So that stuff's long gone, but I think, like, just saying, like, there are unique situations that came up where I was like, yeah, I don't know if you want to do this, if you want to work here for this particular reason because the intention's bad. But if it's not, because most of the time it's not. Get your work, do your booking. It's not going to fucking affect you. Win, lose, who cares? Have a good time, get the experience. But for certain people, also guys like Dan Moff and like, Mara Booker and Kevin Matthews, sometimes I think they'll look at things and go, this booking really isn't worth it unless they make it financially worth it for them. So there's so many different angles you can look at something with this.
Okay. One particular promotion that I was thinking about that you said, pretty much, you've been reaching out to people and kind of extending the olive branch. What about UWA Elite?
I don't know, and I'll tell you why. I think there's guys in there that are. I don't know if and this is blunt. I don't know if I necessarily put that on the same scale as different. They've a couple guys in there, and I've been to a couple shows just because I think friends of mine have been on it, and I'm not familiar with their entire roster. Like I know of Arcadia, I know of. I'm trying to think of a couple other guys. I think maybe Gavin Quest has done those, but I'm not familiar enough with them to really. I don't, from what I gather, because there was a time period when my wrestling school was Hurricane Sandy destroyed the building, and I was in Metuchen running my school, doing events there, and that was their home base too. And I know they had a real big animosity for me being there, and I guess I can't blame them. But I don't know enough about their impact. I think they need to do a lot of things perception-wise to really change what they're doing over there. Because a lot of the guys in the inner workings, and this isn't just me, look at that and don't have the respect they do when you compare it to House of Glory or what Pro Wrestling Syndicate was, or Beyond Wrestling or New York Wrestling Connection. For some reason, it's perceived not as a polished organization, and I'll tell Dave Swan this too. And one thing that kind of was just like really unnecessary is that he messaged me recently, I think like in the midst of all this stuff, and he's like, I've heard these rumors, and I heard you want to use this name, and I have copyrights to this name. And I was like, it's one thing in my head, but it took a lot for me to hold back from going, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're really bad timing. And I don't know if I want to. I haven't seen them over time. I've seen guys, promotions like House of Glory and House of Hardcore and all these different places really showcase guys and really do my guys right over time, or at least have talks with me about that. I've never had talks with them. I don't know what necessarily I can do for them. I also question sometimes, if some of their guys, a lot of their guys are receiving the right proper training. That's alarming to me sometimes. So I don't think, I'm not saying I wouldn't work with them. I don't know enough about them. I haven't seen enough, I think they need some fine tuning, because I can't. If you could tell me right now, who are their three main guys? And if I don't know who they are, I think that's a problem.
I think you do. Eric Corvus.
Okay, well, Corvus is everywhere.
Yeah.
He's been around as long as I have. So that's what
Kyle
I don't
the
think
Beast.
that place necessarily. What's that?
Kyle the Beast.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
He's crazy.
And he's definitely trying. I think he was lumped in. There was a lot of places lumped in, I think, for a while that were kind of acting like PWS was some, like, big conglomerate, like, I don't know, like, anti-indie wrestling. A lot of guys had a lot of frustration with PWS because they couldn't get in, or they weren't going to get booked, or they knew they weren't going to get in. And part of that was true, and part of that was true for the right reasons and the wrong reasons, because I have so many students, and I want to find spots for them. And these are the guys I see, giving blood, sweat, tears, putting in all this work. So I see that firsthand. And those are the guys I'm going to put onto my cards. And here's a big thing that I do too. And this is what I can say to all independent wrestlers. I have a school. In my opinion, I'm in the ring anytime I train. Ring rust is a real thing. You have to stay in shape. You have to approach this. I approach this like this is the NFL. I approach this like this is a real sport. This is even though it's predetermined, we're athletes.
Right.
And I just never understood guys that want to be here so badly. And this isn't singling out anyone, but there's at least 12 people that I know of that have kind of been boo-boo faced towards any promotion that I ran because they were never booked. And I said, okay, well, if you want to be here so badly, here's what I base everything on. Do you train? Do you work on your ring skills? putting that devotion, because pro wrestling